As a trainer with over 20 years experience in the industry, these are the three biggest mistakes I see trainers make. First off, I'm going to apologize to any good trainers out there. This isn't directed at you. Number one is treating all of their clients exactly the same. There's an old saying, if all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. And this is one of the things I see trainers do a lot. It doesn't matter if you're short, tall, overweight, underweight, able-bodied or not, age, young, old, they all get treated the same and they apply the same methodology to all of them regardless of these differences. It's very common. And this comes basically because a lot of coaches, or the way the industry is going, is a lot of it is geared just towards bodybuilding, and everyone takes that bodybuilding hammer and smashes these nails into your clients or into the clients. And there's far more to it. There's far more nuance to it. When I did my course, we had a totally separate level of the course that was called special populations. These were ways to train people who had things like arthritis, people who had different kind of conditions, different kind of illnesses, people who were diabetic, people who were underweight, older people, younger people. These things now aren't really focused as much on as all you need to do is go to the gym, you need to lift weights, you focus on your squats, your bench press, and all is good. There's far more to it than this. Number two is not developing knowledge. I'll give you an example. This is branched into two parts. The first part is nowadays when it comes to personal training, it's much easier to get a qualification. And what we would say is recognized qualifications. The emphasis doesn't seem to be as high as it used to be. When I did my course, it was a 12-week course, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And I had to do a lot in that course. Nowadays, especially in Dubai, some people, because there's less scrutinization and the entry point into some gyms is much lower. Some people don't even have qualifications. They just have a good Instagram following, which is nuts. They basically just take bodybuilding, looking good in the gym by whatever means necessary. People say, I want to train with you, and all of a sudden they're trainers. Things change in the industry, and that moves me on to the second point. When I did my course, when we learned how to do squats, for example, the literature was saying, and it was taught by the coaches, they said, right, when it comes to squats, your knees should never travel over the toes. And that's how we did it with squat. And we had to make sure we have to look down and say, oh, knees are there. And we do it on the side. So, you need to sit back on your heels a bit more. I think I got a job that was lucky enough where I did my course. I managed to get a job in the gym. So I saw for 2-3 years new courses come in, and every course that came along, there'd be some new addition to what was being taught because it was at the cutting edge. It was a very good qualification. And it went so much as from my course to the very next course, they changed things. Said, well, they've been analysing African tribes. These guys sit down on their haunches all the time. There's no problem with their knees. So obviously there isn't anything wrong with knees going over the toes in most circumstances. So they started to change the way they taught things. Trainers, a lot of the times, once they finish their qualification, the door closes. It's like, right, I'm in the industry. I can just get on with training people. I don't need to worry. Good trainers are always looking for the new developments. And you see a big difference. For example, when I go into a gym, I can immediately look around and think, that's a good trainer, that's a good trainer, that's a good trainer, that's a terrible trainer, that's a terrible trainer. This guy could be a good trainer, but he probably needs to update his knowledge. You should always be looking into the literature, following useful sources of information. And if your trainer doesn't do this, or you're a trainer that doesn't do this, you really need to go back to looking at what you do as a coach. My training methodology has changed so much over the years. I used to train like a well-educated moron. My course was good, but the way I applied that information wasn't probably the best for my body. Over the years, you learn, you develop, and you change things, and the information is there to help you make those changes. And number 3, the last thing, is I see a lot of trainers treat their clients, especially much worse today in the day of social media, they treat them as guinea pigs. They treat them as tools to promote themselves. They get them doing ridiculous exercises just so they can film it. They literally film almost everything they do. And, fair enough, the client can be on board with this and have them post. But the stuff I see people do is, in some cases, goes as far as being exploitation. There's nothing wrong with filming your client and filming and doing something and providing value to whoever the viewers are and for the person who's being filmed, as it obviously helps to document their progress. I draw the line when it comes to exploitation and doing things that are potentially injurious just for the sake of making a video. Basically posting what I call entertainment. It's that dodgy grey area where it looks like hard work, it looks like training, but for people in the industry know that this is just pure garbage. This is purely just to sell yourself as a trainer who likes to beast people and is like, look, the guy who beasts the people the most and gets the most results is this guy. You've got to measure things against the longevity of your training history. You have to do things that are tough and hard, but also measured in a way that the 20-year-old you, or sorry, the 60-year-old you isn't going to hate the 20-year version of you because you messed it up so badly, doing all these stupid high-intensity box jumps, jumping over things, smashing yourself on the floor, excessive amounts of Olympic lifting. You have to train with the future in mind. And this is something that I see a lot of trainers doing, is not taking that into consideration and exploiting their clients. Just they can basically use it to get more clients. So if you're a trainer, I can't judge because I used to make a lot of mistakes, and I learned over the years there's a way to do things and a way not to do things. You have to find your direction. If you're a client or a person looking at considering taking a trainer, you need to make sure they have good qualifications. You need to check out their social media, and you need if you know someone who knows a mechanic, for example, if you know a mechanic and you want to buy a new car, you take the mechanic to assess the car because you know that the car dealer or the seller might not be legitimate and they might be trying to sell you a turkey. It's the same thing with the trainer. It helps to, if you're looking for a trainer, show someone who might know a little bit more about you. Say, what do you think? I'm going with this guy or this girl. What do you think about their abilities? And then they might say, you know what, I would stay away from this guy. It looks like he's just going to blast people and turn their knees into dust. Be careful.